In the early 1990s, alternative music crashed into the mainstream, thanks in large part to such cultural phenomena as Nirvana's Nevermind and the Lollapalooza Festival. What was once considered underground broke through to the masses. Today, we're bringing in a special guest to take a look at an alternative to the alternative act that still stands as one of the most dynamic outfits of the era, Ween. I'm Scott T. Sterling, and this is the RHINO Report. Releasing their first two albums on indie labels, the duo of Aaron Freeman and Mickey Melchiondo, better known to fans as Gene and Dean Ween, jumped to major label Elektra Records for their third album, Pure Guava. Which brings us to Ween's highly touted and essential fourth album, Chocolate and Cheese. In order to dive a little deeper into this Ween masterpiece, we've brought in resident expert and fan, RHINO A&R man Jason Jones, to answer a few fun questions about chocolate and cheese. We're here with RHINO A&R man and Ween expert, Jason Jones, to answer a few questions about the band's new reissue of the classic 1994 release, Chocolate and Cheese. So many people consider Chocolate and Cheese as the essential Ween album. It's their primary studio record. Where do you rank this album in their discography?
That's tough. I mean, I have my own personal favorites.
Sure.
You know, like I'm a big fan of The Mollusk, as a number of fans who are probably watching this are. Chocolate and Cheese is also amazing. I mean, they didn't make a bad record. That's just the fact of their discography. I think Chocolate and Cheese is one of the most varied records, to where they're touching upon, you know, multiple songwriting styles, multiple genre styles. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a belly flop into a pool of genres, if you will.
Nice.
So it's the most varied Ween record. I think there's, you know, as far as it ranking in the pantheon of their discography, I think that's a really hard thing to define.
Probably more of an individual thing.
It's more of an individual relationship as to, you know, their fan base, of which I count myself one of them, is just so feverish and passionate about their discography.
Right.
You know, you've got everything from Chocolate and Cheese to The Mollusk to, which, you know, concept record, you know, inspired SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, it's like it's wild. And then 12 Golden Country Greats is a tried and true country record with like classic studio cats from Nashville. The Jordanaires are on that record. They're doing backing vocals on like 2 tracks. And then you've got White Pepper, which is just this like a kaleidoscope. It's actually kind of like similar in vein to Chocolate and Cheese, where it's going in multiple different directions. You know, they're great. You know, like it's one of those bands where their discography is a real ride.
So Ween they were particularly prolific while they were recording Chocolate and Cheese. Like, there was a lot of extra music.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the songs that didn't make the record, and sort of how do you feel about that cachet of music?
We are so fortunate that this even exists, because we had the good fortune of Dean Ween and Gene Ween, you know, going through their own personal archives to find previously unreleased and also previously uncirculated demos and outtakes. You know, these are home 4-track recordings of them. You know, this is stuff that was on DAT tapes, that was on cassette tapes. You look inside the booklet that's in the Deluxe edition, and there's just a page just full of cassettes. That's some of the cassettes that this material was taken from. So, you know, you have 15 truly unreleased songs. So it really is a treasure trove of material for the fans. I mean, whenever I got the tracks, it was it was like my birthday.
Right,
you know, it was like it was so powerful and impactful and special. Like this is both some of the most beautiful material that a major label will ever put out, but also some of the most vile, just insane stuff. It's really brave that a label like Elektra and also a label like RHINO are still looking to put out something like this. You know, like this is... Ween is still a band that is still ahead of their time. And even these demos still sound way ahead of their time as well. So I think everyone's in for a real treat with this. Like some of this stuff is like, there's a song called Warm Socks that's like very much like a silky smooth R&B jam. Then there's a song called Stop, Look, Listen, and Learn that is like just real like beat you over the head kind of rocker with some crazy lyrics. And then you've got demos of classic tracks like Roses Are Free and Take Me Away. Like it's really special. That's all I can say. It's really special.
So considering this record came out 30 years ago, and considering the current musical climate, what makes Chocolate and Cheese still relevant today and still something that music listeners should investigate and get to know?
Well, I think some of the topics that are discussed are still timely. Like if you look at a song like What Diener Was Talking About, which is about, you know, anxiety and, you know, just difficulty in existing in the world. I think that's a topic that is, you know, as relevant today, even maybe more so than it was 30 years ago. The way that it hops around in genres as well, I think is very reflective of what a modern music fan's tastes are.
Sure.
Like in our kind of streaming environment, you can go from a salsa song to a country song to a rocker to something that has a bit of a Caribbean flavor or something like that. And that's kind of all over this kind of record. So I think that it's both not just the emotional context of some of the songs, but also just the sounds themselves are actually a bit more attuned to a modern listener than maybe audiences were ready for in 1994.
Oh, very cool.
We're doing everything to honor this band, this album. Liner notes are from Dean Ween.
Nice.
So it's like, we're going all out for this because it's an album that deserves it. And if it's an album that's got the RHINO stamp on it, you know it's something of quality and of cultural and musical importance. It's the kind of stuff that isn't really made these days.
I feel that.
Yeah. So, you know, that's where Ween sits, as far as I'm concerned.
Right on.
So
even if you're a Ween fan and you know this record inside and out, what you're getting is a whole new look, a whole new
take on it.
Nice.
Yeah. So go buy it.
I mean, you got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to.
Well, thank you, Jason. This is fantastic.
Of course.
We love having your expertise and knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
In celebration of the album's 30th anniversary, RHINO is excited to announce a new deluxe edition of Ween's Chocolate and Cheese, set for release on August 2nd. This 3 LP set features a newly remastered version of the album, plus 15 previously unreleased demos and outtakes. This deluxe edition features liner notes written by Mickey Melchiando himself, who takes us back to the time and place when Ween created this instant classic. Quote, "When I hear it, I feel like I'm listening to an autobiography of our lives in the early to mid-90s. If it sounds like we had fun making it, we did. That's kind of what Ween is all about, though." End quote. Pre-order your copy of Chocolate and Cheese Deluxe Edition now on rhino.com. Ween fans, tell us your favorite song by the band in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the RHINO channel for more of the RHINO Report every Friday.